Selamun Aleyküm. Euzubillahimineşşeytanirracim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ve salatu selamu ala Resulü Muhammedin seyyidina ve meded ya Resul, meded ya Sadat ve ashab-ı Resul, meded ya meşayihine ve destur ve inşallah fazla asal inşallah ve tarikatına as-sahba ve hayra fil cemiyye. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. إنما المؤمنون إخوة فأصلحوا بين أخويكم واتقوا الله لعلكم ترحمون. صدق الله العظيم. Allah Azze ve Celle buyuruyor. Müslümanlar kardeştir.
Allah Almighty commands that as Muslims we are each other's brothers and sisters in faith.
Kardeşler arasında ihtilaf varsa onları ıslah edin.
And if among our fellow Muslim brothers and sisters is conflict, then as fellow Muslim brothers and sisters it is our duty to establish peace among them.
Onları uyarın, doğru yolu gösterin.
We must remind our fellow Muslim brothers and sisters of the right way.
Çünkü kardeşlik Allah Azze ve Celle'nin sevdiği, verdiği insanlara.
To be brothers and sisters in faith is a divine gift by Allah Almighty.
Kardeş sevgisi imanla olan kardeşlik ana babanın kardeşliğinden daha kuvvetlidir.
And to be brothers and sisters in faith is a stronger bond than actually being brothers and sisters by having the same mother and father.
Daha mühimdir.
And it is being brothers and sisters in faith is more important than actually being the brothers and sisters of the same parent.
Yaşadığımız günler beraber olup da
the time we now live in is a time where we should be together.
Kardeş kardeşi kayırması.
It is a time when we should reestablish our bonds as fellow Muslim brothers and sisters.
Lazım olan günlerdir.
And this is what we need the most during these times.
Ama şeytan bu kardeşliği düşmanlığa çoğu zaman çeviriyor.
However, it is Shaitan who turns brotherhood of fellow Muslim brothers and sisters into enmity.
Kardeşten hayır gelmiyor.
Fellow Muslim brothers and sisters do no longer support each other.
Ne için? Çünkü İslam'ı yaşamıyor.
And what is the reason behind this? It is because they do not live Islam properly.
İslam yaşayan insan kardeşini sever.
A person who lives according to the commands of Islam respects his fellow Muslim brothers and sisters.
Kardeşine yardım eder.
He supports his fellow Muslim brothers and sisters.
Kardeşinin ihtiyaçlarını görür.
And if someone is in need, he tries his best to help him.
Ama şimdiki insanlar o şeyleri yok, o dertleri yok.
But people nowadays, they simply do not care.
Kardeşlikten nasiplerini almamışlar.
People nowadays have not taken their share of what it means to be a good fellow Muslim brother or sister.
Kardeşi nasıl kardeşinden nasıl faydalanacak diye düşünür.
All people are interested in these days is how can I benefit the most from my fellow Muslim brother or sister.
Faydalanabilir insan kardeşinden.
Of course, it is a mutual relationship, and of course one may benefit from one's fellow brother or sister.
Beraber olunca kendisine de fayda olur.
However, this should not serve just one person's ego. It should be based on mutual support and mutual respect.
Kardeşliği kapan insana o en büyük faydadır.
Because being fellow Muslim brothers and sisters is a benefit and a blessing, not for just one side, but for both sides.
Çünkü kardeş Allah Azze ve Celle'nin insanlara birbirlerine yardım etsin diye verdiği bir nimettir.
And to be one's fellow Muslim brothers and sisters is a divine gift and favor by Allah Almighty, and it has been established this way in order to support each other, and being brothers and sisters is a divine gift by Allah Almighty.
Ona yardım edersen Allah Azze ve Celle de sana yardım eder.
If you support your brothers and sisters, then you must know that Allah Almighty will support and help you.
El-akrabune evle bil maruf. En yakınlarınız iyilikte en evla olan onlardır. İlk onlara yakınlarına en yakın olan tabi ana babadan sonra kardeştir.
And who is the most beneficial person? It is the one who's most beneficial to his closest ones, and who are the closest ones after one's father and mother. It is one's fellow brothers and sisters.
O kardeş yardım edersen Allah Azze ve Celle senin sevabını kat be kat artırır.
And by supporting your fellow Muslim relatives in faith, Allah Almighty will increase your station and degree.
Şimdi bu normal insan kardeşler için söylüyorum. O da işte maalesef çoğu zaman kardeş hak yiyor, zulmediyor.
However, what we see is that brothers and sisters do not support each other. Instead, they violate each other's rights, and they use the other side for their own personal profits.
Ondan sonra da ne için bu bana böyle başıma geldi diye şey yapıyor.
And then, while just pursuing one's own ego's desires, they then wonder in the end, why has this happened to me?
Yani haksız yere alınan her şey faydasızdır, bereketsizdir.
If you usurp the rights and violate the rights of your fellow brothers and sisters, and the alleged benefit you seem to be gaining by this violation will not stay with you.
Onunla madde günahtır tabi.
You will have acquired and obtained nothing except sins.
Ama yani dünya yaşadıkça insanoğlu onun zararını görür burada.
And you must know that by having violated the rights of your fellow brothers and sisters, you will have to pay a price in this world.
Helal edilmeyen haklar Allah muhafaza etsin, ahirette daha beter.
And there is a price in this world, and may Allah Almighty protect us from being in such a situation, because the price of having violated one's brothers and sisters' rights, when you are held accountable before Allah Almighty for this, then it will be very difficult for you.
Zararını görür. Hani sanmasın ki ben uyanıklık yaptım.
There is a heavy price to be paid, if not in this world, then certainly in the hereafter, and do not think that by fooling or cheating people and cheating your fellow Muslim brothers and sisters, that you have made a profit.
Hakkını yedim, çaktırmadan şey yaptım diye onun şeyi yok, bir faydası yok.
Whatever you obtain or whatever you gain by cheating others and without them noticing is not an act of being clever. Instead, you will have to pay a price for it.
Allah muhafaza etsin.
May Allah Almighty protect us from doing such things.
Öteki türlü de müminin destekleyen insandır.
A believer is somebody who supports his fellow Muslim brothers and sisters.
Bu iman kardeşliği de başkadır.
And being brothers and sisters in faith is something special.
O iman kardeşliğini Osmanlı'da en son Osmanlı'da görüldü.
And what it means to be brothers and sisters in faith was lived in an exemplary manner by the Ottomans.
Ne için? Çünkü hilafet devletiydi, İslam devletiydi.
Because the Ottoman state was a state of Islam, and it was a caliphate.
Peygamber Efendimizin halifeleriydi onlar en son.
They were the caliphs and the successors of our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and his representatives.
Ondan sonra halife Sultan Mecid'den sonra cennet mekan halife yok.
And after Sultan Abdülmecid, there was the last Ottoman Sultan. There was no caliph. May Allah Almighty increase his station.
Ondan sonra işte o kardeşlik kalktı.
And then with the disappearance of the caliphate, with the disappearance of the Ottomans, the quality of what it means to be brothers and sisters in faith also disappeared.
Kardeşlik yerine bir Müslümanlar birbirine düşman oldu.
Brotherhood was replaced by enmity among Muslim brothers and sisters.
Sensin, benim diye.
Each side said, I am myself, and you are yourself, and I only care about myself, not about you.
Düşmanlık ortada oldu.
And thus, instead of fostering brotherhood, they fostered enmity.
Yardım etmeye kalksa bile yardımını ya kabul eder, ya kabul etse de teşekkür etmez.
And if somebody tried to help among fellow Muslim brothers and sisters, that person would not receive any thanks for it.
İtibar etmez.
And would not receive any respect for his help.
Ondan sonra da zarar olur.
And there's only loss and damage.
Bütün ümmete.
For the entire ummah of Muslims.
Bu zarar çünkü Allah Azze ve Celle'nin emrini yerine getirmediler diye.
And this damage and loss is the result of not having fulfilled the commands and orders of Allah Almighty.
Müslüman kardeşliğini ortadan kaldırdılar diye o zarar muhakkak olur.
The loss and damage and harm that we experience is the result of the disappearance and non-existence of brotherhood and faith among Muslims.
Gördüğümüz gibi dünyanın her tarafında, şimdi burada, yarın orada, öteki gün orada, duyulanlar var, duyulmayanlar var, çok.
And there are so many things and bad events that happen within the Muslim world, throughout the entire world, within the Muslim communities, and there are so many things we hear about, and there's even more we do not know about and we do not hear about.
Ancak halife inşallah gelince, şimdi halife ancak.
And the only way of salvation is only when, inshallah, the Caliph will return.
Mehdi Aleyhisselam, Allah onun günlerini tez zamanda yetiştirsin.
And we ask and beg Allah Almighty to make us reach the days of Mehdi Aleyhisselam as quickly as possible.
Bu insanları zulümden kurtarsın.
Because he will be the one who will be rescuing people from this oppression and darkness.
İnsanlar diyor, sırf Müslümanlar diye bütün insanlara ihtiyacı var.
And not only Muslims are in need of Mahdi alayhi salam, but this applies to all people throughout the entire world.
Nura ihtiyacı var.
People are in need of divine light.
Bu huzur, barış dedikleri ancak barış Mehdi.
And there will be no peace and no rest in this world without the divine light of guidance.
Aleyhisselam'la olur. Başka türlü
And this divine light of guidance will be through Mahdi alayhi salam.
hayaldir.
And there will be no other way. Any other way is just an illusion.
Ne için? Çünkü bina yapmak zordur, yıkmak kolaydır.
It is easy to build a building, and it is difficult to build a building, and it is easy to destroy a building.
Şimdi daha yapılmadan zaten yıkılıyor.
And now we see that buildings are destroyed without actually having been built.
Onun için hani kimse dünyada barış olacak, sükunet olacak, huzur olacak diye beklemesin.
Don't expect peace and rest and comfort in this world without Mahdi alayhi salam.
Ancak Mehdi Aleyhisselam için dua edelim ki
Therefore we must pray for the advent of Mahdi alayhi salam,
gelip insanları zulümden kurtarsın.
so that he may come and rescue people from this oppression.
Başka türlü ümit yok.
There's no other hope.
Zaten kime sorsan, dünyada herkes sorsan, kimsenin umuru değil zaten.
And whoever you ask, nobody actually even cares about saving people.
Şeytanla beraber olmuşlar.
They prefer to rather be with shaitan.
Hepsi yıkmaya uğraşıyorlar.
All of them are preoccupied with destroying.
Yıkıyorlar, yıkmaya uğraşıyorlar. Hiç bina yaptırmaya fırsat vermeden, temelden
They are preoccupied with destroying, and they do not allow and do not give a chance to build something new.
başlıyorlar yıksınlar. Onun için
They do not allow somebody to establish a foundation to build something.
Allah'a şükür bizim Allah'tan başka dayanak yok. Allah Azze ve Celle'nin beraberiz. Allah'a şükür.
There's no one we seek refuge except Allah Almighty, and there is no one who may support us and back us up except Allah Almighty.
Ondan olduğumuz için şükretmek lazım.
And we must be thankful and give thanks and show our gratitude that He Almighty allowed us to be with Him.
Bilmemek zordur.
It is difficult to not know,
Çoğu insan ne olduğunu bilmiyor.
and most of the people are unaware,
Üzülüyor, kahroluyor.
and they are desperately sad about the events.
Ama Allah'la beraber olan bunların Allah Azze ve Celle'nin takdiri olduğu her şeyin
But those who are with Allah Almighty are well aware of the wisdom that behind every event there is the will of Allah Almighty, and there is the wisdom of Allah Almighty.
Allah'ın emrine olduğu için
And they are aware that everything happens by the command of Allah Almighty.
sabredip
And thus they show perseverance and patience.
sonunu hayır geleceğini biliyor.
They persevere and they wait for the good ending that is going to come.
Hayır olacağını biliyor.
They know that in the end there's going to be salvation and blessing.
Vel akıbetül muttakin diyor. Akıbet takva sahiplerindendir.
And the good outcome and the good ending will be for those who have faith in Allah Almighty.
Kazanan onlar olacak.
The winners are the ones who are with Allah Almighty.
Kazanmayan zalimlerdir.
The losers are the oppressors.
Allah'a karşı gelenlerdir.
The losers are the ones who oppose Allah Almighty.
Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem karşı gelenler,
It is those who oppose the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him.
kendilerini akıllı zannedip
It is those who oppose Allah Almighty and the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and who think of themselves to be something.
Müslümanlara hakaret eden,
It is those who think of themselves to be something while blaming Muslims and while oppressing Muslims.
onların yaptıklarını beğenmeyen insanlar,
It is those who mock Muslims and who do not like what Muslims do.
onlardır hüsran olacak, onlardır
They are the losers,
akıbetleri kötü olur.
and they are the ones who will have a bad outcome and a bad ending.
Akıbet, hayırlı akıbet, Allah'tan korkan, Allah'a inanan insanlardır.
Those who will have a good ending are the ones who have faith in Allah Almighty and who are aware of Allah Almighty.
İnşallah. Allah bizi onlardan eylesin.
May Allah Almighty make us become those who have strong faith in Him, who are aware of Him, and who are afraid of doing something against His will.
Bu zamanda, bu vakitte imtihan etmesin.
May Allah Almighty protect us, and may Allah Almighty make us not undergo tests during these difficult days.
Dediğimiz gibi sırf onlar değil, bir kısım Müslümanız diye geçinen, onlar da namaz kılar, oruç tutar ama Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem de buyurduğu gibi iman yok kalplerinde.
There is a group of Muslims who may pray and may fast, but as our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, they do not have faith.
Biz amelimizden kurtuluruz derler.
They say we will be rescued by the means of our deeds.
Peygamber Efendimiz sallallahu aleyhi ve selleme hürmetleri yoktur.
They do not show any respect or appreciation towards the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him.
Evliyalar da desen hiç kabul etmeyen insanlardır.
And they do not accept the awliyaullah, the friends of Allah Almighty.
İşte onlar da bu kardeşliği, İslam kardeşliğini istemeyen insanlardır.
They are the ones who oppose and are against the importance of being brothers and of being fellow brothers and sisters in faith and supporting each other as one's fellow Muslim brothers and sisters.
İslam sırf bencil, ben kurtulayım, başkası hepsi
They're egoistic and are only concerned about themselves, and they say, I will only rescue myself, I don't care about the others.
cehenneme gitsin diye insanlar,
Let the others go to hell.
onlar da kardeşliği istemeyen Allah'ın
They are the ones who do not want to establish the bond of being brothers and sisters in faith.
Allah Azze ve Celle'nin emrini yerine getirmeyen insanlardır.
And by doing so, they do not fulfill the command and order of Allah Almighty.
Onlar da çok çoğaldı.
And their numbers have increased.
Allah onlara da ıslah eylesin.
May Allah Almighty guide them back to the right way and change their situation to the better.
Onların şerlerinden muhafaza etsin.
And may Allah Almighty protect us from their evil and malice.
Ki ıslah olanlar çok azdır o tayfalar.
May Allah Almighty ameliorate their situation. Among them, there are only a few for who there is betterment.
Onlar ne etmezse bir şeytan kafalarına girdi mi kurtulmaları zordur.
For them, once shaitan is in their head, it becomes difficult for them to escape from that attitude they have.
Onun için Allah şerlerinden muhafaza etsin onu.
May Allah Almighty protect us, therefore, from their evil.
İnşallah. Allah doğru yolda, Osman'ın yolunda görmemizi yardım etsin.
May Allah Almighty make us be steadfast and support us and help us in following the right way as our ancestors, the Ottomans, did.
O yolda insanlara hidayet versin.
And may Allah Almighty guide people towards this right way,
İnsanlara kıymet bilsinler.
so that people may appreciate
Kimin ümmete kimin faydası dokunduğunu bilsinler.
so that people may appreciate the value of those who contribute for the betterment of the Muslim community,
Faydasız insanlardan da uzak dursunlar.
and so that they may realize the people who are useless and do harm to the Muslim community, and so that they may stay away from them.
İnşallah. Amin. Ve minallah tevfik. El Fatiha.